It was a humid summer night when I stumbled upon the truth that shattered my world. Laura had fallen asleep early, exhausted from a long day at work, her phone innocently resting on the nightstand beside her. Normally, I wouldn't think twice about checking her phone. It wasn't my style to invade her privacy, but something nagged at me that night, a gut feeling I couldn't ignore. Silent as a shadow, I tiptoed over and glanced at the screen, my heart thudding in my chest. What I saw made my blood run cold. A string of messages from an unknown number, filled with words of affection and plans for clandestine meetings. My hands trembled as I scrolled through the damning evidence, each word like a dagger to my heart. Laura stirred beside me, mumbling in her sleep, and I froze, panic coursing through me. How long had this been going on? How could she do this to us, to our family? I retreated to the bathroom, locking the door behind me, needing the solitude to process the avalanche of emotions crashing down. Anger, disbelief, and crushing sadness battled for dominance in my mind. I stared at my reflection in the mirror, the face of a man whose life had just been torn apart. Minutes stretched into hours as I replayed scenes from our marriage in my head, searching for signs I might have missed. Laura and I had built a life together, a beautiful home, 2 wonderful children, years of shared memories. How could it all unravel like this? Eventually, the faint light of dawn crept through the bathroom window, casting a pale glow on my haggard face. With a heavy heart, I knew there was no turning back. The truth was out, and with it, our family as I knew it was irreparably damaged. I emerged from the bathroom, steeling myself for the confrontation that awaited me in the morning. Laura would have to explain herself, face the consequences of her betrayal. But as I crawled into bed beside her, the space between us felt like an unbridgeable chasm, echoing the vast emptiness that now defined our once solid marriage. Morning dawned with a deceptive serenity, the sunlight filtering through the curtains as if unaware of the turmoil brewing within our home. Laura woke with a start, her eyes bleary with sleep as she glanced at me, sensing immediately that something was amiss. I kept my gaze steady, the weight of the previous night's discovery heavy on my shoulders. "Laura," I began, my voice a mixture of calm restraint and seething anger. "We need to talk." She sat up, rubbing her eyes, a flicker of unease crossing her face before she tried to compose herself. "What is it, honey?" Her tone was too casual, strained with a forced cheerfulness that grated on my nerves. I didn't mince words. "I saw the messages, Laura," I said quietly, each syllable laced with a bitter edge. Her expression froze, the color draining from her cheeks. "Messages?" She feigned ignorance, but her hands trembled ever so slightly, betraying the panic simmering beneath the surface. "Don't play dumb," I snapped, unable to contain the fury rising within me. The messages from him. For a moment, silence hung heavy in the air, thick with unspoken accusations and shattered trust. I watched as realization dawned in her eyes, followed swiftly by guilt and shame. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out, her throat working soundlessly. "I trusted you, Laura," I continued, my voice cracking with raw emotion. "We built a life together, and you threw it all away." Tears welled up in her eyes, her lower lip trembling. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I didn't mean for this to happen." "How long?" I demanded, needing to know the extent of her betrayal, though part of me feared the answer. She hesitated, her gaze dropping to her hands clasped tightly in her lap. "A few months," she admitted finally, her voice barely above a whisper. "It was a mistake, I swear." "A mistake?" I scoffed bitterly, the pain of her words cutting deeper than any knife. "This wasn't a mistake, Laura. This was a choice to betray everything we had." She reached out tentatively, as if to touch my arm, but I flinched away, unable to bear her touch. "Please?" she pleaded, tears now streaming down her face. "I love you. I never stopped loving you." The words rang hollow in my ears, drowned out by the roar of betrayal echoing through my mind. "Love isn't enough," I said, my voice hollow with resignation. "Not anymore." With that, I turned and walked away, leaving her sitting there, shattered and sobbing. The confrontation had laid bare the ruins of our marriage, a jagged landscape of broken promises and irreparable damage. As I retreated to the sanctuary of my thoughts, one thing became painfully clear. Forgiveness was a luxury I could no longer afford. In the aftermath of that fateful confrontation, our home became a battleground of silent accusations and unspoken resentments. Laura retreated into herself, consumed by guilt and shame, while I struggled to maintain a facade of normalcy for the sake of our children. The atmosphere at home was thick with tension, palpable even to our young kids who sensed that something was amiss. They began to ask questions, innocent inquiries about why Mommy and Daddy weren't talking as much, why Mommy seemed sad all the time. Each question was like a dagger to my heart, a reminder of the innocence that had been shattered by Laura's betrayal. I tried to shield them from the truth, offering vague explanations about grown-up problems that Mommy and Daddy needed to work through. But children are perceptive. They picked up on the strained silences and the nights spent sleeping in separate rooms. Our once happy home had become a fractured shell of its former self. Outside our walls, life continued as if nothing had changed. Colleagues greeted me with smiles, neighbors waved in passing, unaware of the turmoil tearing my soul apart. I plastered on a smile, nodded politely during conversations, all the while carrying the heavy burden of betrayal like a lead weight around my neck. Friends noticed the change in our dynamic, the subtle shift in our interactions at social gatherings. They offered sympathetic looks, whispered words of support when Laura wasn't looking. Some urged me to seek counseling, to give our marriage a chance at redemption. But deep down, I knew that forgiveness was beyond my reach. Meanwhile, Laura's demeanor oscillated between moments of desperate apologies and quiet resignation. She tried to make amends in small ways, cooking favorite meals, leaving heartfelt notes on my pillow, but each gesture only served as a painful reminder of what we had lost. The wounds were too fresh, too deep to be healed by tokens of remorse. Nights were the hardest. While Laura tossed and turned, plagued by guilt-induced insomnia, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, replaying scenes from our shattered marriage in my mind. Anger burned hot within me, a relentless fire fueled by memories of her betrayal. Sleep became an elusive luxury, replaced by restless hours spent grappling with the enormity of our unraveling life. Despite the turmoil, I clung to routine, taking the kids to school, attending meetings at work, pretending that life was carrying on as usual. But beneath the surface, I was a man adrift in a sea of uncertainty, grappling with the harsh reality that the woman I had loved and trusted had betrayed me in the most devastating way possible. As days turned into weeks, the wounds of betrayal began to scar over, though the ache remained, a constant reminder of the shattered dreams and fractured promises that lay in ruin. The aftermath of Laura's betrayal had irreversibly altered the landscape of our lives, leaving us to navigate the wreckage in search of a semblance of normalcy that may never be found. As weeks stretched into a bitter routine of strained coexistence, a cold resolve began to settle within me. The initial shock and raw pain of Laura's betrayal had given way to a simmering anger, a relentless need for justice, for retribution. Late into the night, after the children were asleep and the house lay shrouded in darkness, I retreated to the sanctuary of my study. The walls around me became a silent witness to my transformation from a betrayed husband to a man driven by a singular purpose, to make Laura pay for her betrayal. I meticulously cataloged every detail of her infidelity, piecing together a timeline of her deceit with clinical detachment. Text messages were archived, emails were meticulously scrutinized, and phone records were dissected for any shred of evidence that could strengthen my case. Each revelation stoked the embers of my fury, fueling my determination to expose her for the fraud she had become. Friends and acquaintances unwittingly became pawns in my carefully orchestrated game of retaliation. Over casual conversations and seemingly innocent inquiries, I planted seeds of doubt about Laura's loyalty and character. Subtle insinuations about her erratic behavior and secretive demeanor began to spread like wildfire through our social circle, tarnishing her reputation with each passing rumor. I feigned solidarity in public, a facade of reconciliation carefully crafted to lull Laura into a false sense of security. Behind closed doors, however, I meticulously planned my next move, mapping out strategies to undermine her credibility and dismantle her defenses. Every interaction became a calculated chess move in a high-stakes game of emotional warfare. Financially, I began to take preemptive measures, discreetly safeguarding our assets and redirecting funds into accounts beyond Laura's reach. I masked my actions under the guise of prudent financial management, deflecting any suspicions with plausible excuses and half-truths. The growing strain on our finances became a subtle yet potent reminder of the consequences of her betrayal. Legal counsel became my confidant, a trusted ally in my quest for justice. Together, we strategized the intricacies of divorce proceedings, meticulously documenting each piece of incriminating evidence to bolster my case. Laura's unsuspecting demeanor only fueled my determination to secure a favorable outcome, sparing no expense in my pursuit of retribution. Yet amidst the calculated precision of my planning, a nagging voice of doubt occasionally pierced through the veneer of my resolve. Was my thirst for vengeance justified, or had I become consumed by the same darkness that had driven Laura to betray me? The moral ambiguity of my actions haunted me in quiet moments, a constant battle between righteousness and the all-consuming desire for vindication. But with each passing day, the scales tipped further in favor of retribution. The wounds of betrayal ran deep, carving scars of resentment and bitterness that refused to heal. As I meticulously plotted my revenge, I knew deep down that forgiveness was a luxury I could no longer afford, not when the fabric of our family had been torn asunder by Laura's treachery. And so, fueled by a relentless thirst for justice and driven by a determination born of wounded pride, I continued to lay the groundwork for the ruthless retaliation that would irrevocably alter the course of our lives. The stage was set, the pieces in motion, a symphony of deceit and betrayal orchestrated with chilling precision, leading inevitably toward the brutal reckoning that awaited us both. With each passing day, my meticulous planning intensified, weaving a web of deception and betrayal around Laura, unseen and unsuspected. Every action was calculated, every word measured, a symphony of manipulation orchestrated with chilling precision. I continued to gather evidence of her infidelity, methodically documenting each incriminating detail. Screenshots of messages exchanged under the veil of secrecy, emails that betrayed her deceitful liaisons, all carefully cataloged in a digital dossier that painted a damning portrait of her betrayal. The evidence was my ammunition, a potent arsenal poised to expose her deception to the world. Subtly, I began to sow seeds of doubt among our shared circle of friends and acquaintances. Casual remarks and innocent inquiries subtly hinted at Laura's uncharacteristic behavior. A shift in demeanor, mysterious absences, and clandestine phone calls that raised eyebrows and fueled speculation. The whispers grew louder, a chorus of suspicion that eroded her once untarnished reputation piece by piece. I strategically positioned myself as the aggrieved husband, the stoic victim of a heartless betrayal. Behind closed doors, I played the role of a wounded husband willing to forgive, to salvage what remained of our shattered marriage. Publicly, I maintained a facade of solidarity, masking my true intentions beneath a veneer of reluctant reconciliation. Meanwhile, Laura remained oblivious to the intricate web closing in around her. Her apologies and gestures of remorse fell on deaf ears. Her attempts at reconciliation met with a cold detachment that masked the seething resentment boiling beneath the surface. She was a pawn in my meticulously orchestrated game, a game where the stakes were nothing less than her dignity and reputation. Financially, I continued to safeguard our assets, strategically maneuvering to ensure that Laura remained financially vulnerable. Accounts were discreetly rearranged, investments diverted, and financial documents meticulously scrutinized to fortify my position in the impending legal battle. The growing strain on our finances became a silent testament to the consequences of her betrayal, a tangible reminder of the price she would pay for her infidelity. Legal preparations advanced with relentless determination, my attorney a steadfast ally in my quest for justice. Together, we meticulously crafted a narrative that portrayed Laura as the architect of our marital demise, a narrative supported by a mountain of irrefutable evidence that left no room for doubt. Divorce proceedings loomed on the horizon, a looming specter of finality that threatened to sever the tenuous threads binding us together. Yet amidst the calculated precision of my planning, a gnawing sense of guilt occasionally surfaced, a lingering doubt that whispered of the moral ambiguity of my actions. Was my thirst for vengeance justified, or had I become consumed by the same darkness that had driven Laura to betray me? The question lingered, a haunting echo in the depths of my conscience that I struggled to silence. But with each passing day, the resolve to see my plan through only strengthened. The wounds of betrayal ran deep, festering with resentment and bitterness that refused to heal. As I meticulously executed the final stages of my meticulously orchestrated retaliation, I knew deep down that forgiveness was a luxury I could no longer afford. Not when the fabric of our family had been torn asunder by Laura's treachery. And so, with unwavering determination and a heart hardened by betrayal, I continued to lay the groundwork for the ruthless retribution that would forever alter the course of our lives. The pieces were in motion, the stage set for the brutal reckoning that awaited us both, a reckoning born of broken trust and irreparable heartache. As my plan for revenge unfolded with relentless precision, I began to subtly manipulate our social circle, strategically isolating Laura from friends and acquaintances who had once been pillars of support. Casual gatherings and social events became carefully orchestrated battlegrounds, where innocent conversations morphed into opportunities to plant seeds of doubt and suspicion. I adeptly steered discussions toward Laura's recent behavior, her unexplained absences, secretive phone calls, and erratic demeanor, subtly insinuating that something was amiss without overtly accusing her. Friends and acquaintances, unaware of my true motives, responded with sympathetic nods and concerned glances, their loyalty wavering as they absorbed the carefully curated narrative of betrayal and heartache. Slowly but surely, the circle of trust that had once enveloped Laura began to unravel, replaced by a palpable sense of unease and uncertainty. Laura, oblivious to the undercurrent of suspicion surrounding her, continued to navigate social gatherings with a facade of normalcy, unaware of the growing rifts in our once tight-knit community. Her attempts at genuine connection were met with cautious distance, her words and actions scrutinized through a lens of skepticism and doubt. Meanwhile, I maintained a facade of reluctant solidarity in public, masking my true intentions behind a veil of stoic resignation. Privately, however, I continued to execute my plan with meticulous calculation, leveraging every opportunity to further erode Laura's credibility and isolate her from the support network she had once cherished. Subtly, I orchestrated scenarios that subtly undermined her standing among our mutual friends, a missed invitation here, a withheld piece of information there, all carefully calibrated to reinforce the narrative of her betrayal and further isolate her from the bonds of trust that had once defined our social circle. As the whispers of suspicion grew louder, Laura's once confident demeanor began to falter, her smile strained and her interactions tinged with a palpable sense of insecurity. She sought solace in the familiarity of our dwindling circle of friends, unaware that every interaction served to cement her reputation as the architect of our marital demise. The isolation weighed heavily on her, the realization of her dwindling support network a bitter pill to swallow. She attempted to reach out, to bridge the growing divide between us and our friends, but each overture was met with polite indifference or thinly veiled excuses, a subtle yet devastating reminder of the consequences of her betrayal. Financially, the strain on our resources continued to mount, exacerbated by my strategic maneuvers to safeguard our assets and redirect funds beyond Laura's reach. The growing disparity in our financial stability served as a silent testament to the consequences of her infidelity, a stark reminder of the price she would pay for her betrayal. Yet amidst the calculated precision of my actions, a nagging sense of guilt occasionally surfaced, a haunting echo of doubt that whispered of the moral ambiguity of my revenge. Had my thirst for retribution clouded my judgment, blinding me to the human cost of my actions? The question lingered, a sobering reminder of the moral tightrope I walked in pursuit of justice. But with each passing day, the resolve to see my plan through only strengthened. The wounds of betrayal ran deep, festering with resentment and bitterness that refused to heal. As I meticulously executed the final stages of my meticulously orchestrated retaliation, I knew deep down that forgiveness was a luxury I could no longer afford. Not when the fabric of our family had been torn asunder by Laura's treachery. And so, with unwavering determination and a heart hardened by betrayal, I continued to lay the groundwork for the ruthless retribution that would forever alter the course of our lives. The pieces were in motion, the stage set for the brutal reckoning that awaited us both, a reckoning born of broken trust and irreparable heartache. With the groundwork of isolation firmly established, I turned my attention to another crucial front in my campaign of retribution, our financial stability. Discreetly and methodically, I began to execute maneuvers designed to undermine Laura's financial security and ensure my advantageous position in the impending divorce proceedings. Under the guise of prudent financial management, I initiated a series of strategic actions to safeguard our assets and redirect funds beyond Laura's reach. Bank accounts were quietly rearranged, investments were transferred to accounts under my sole control, and financial documents were meticulously scrutinized to fortify my position. Each move was calculated to exacerbate the growing strain on our finances, a consequence of her betrayal that I subtly attributed to external factors, a struggling economy, unforeseen expenses, or poor investment decisions. The mounting financial pressure served as a silent yet potent reminder of the consequences of her infidelity, a tangible manifestation of the price she would pay for her deceit. Laura, consumed by guilt and oblivious to the calculated precision of my actions, began to notice the subtle shifts in our financial landscape. Questions about our dwindling savings and strained budget were met with evasive answers and vague reassurances, deflecting any suspicion with carefully crafted explanations that concealed my true motives. Her growing unease mirrored my relentless determination to secure my financial future and weaken her position in the impending legal battle. I consulted with my attorney regularly, strategizing the intricacies of asset division and spousal support with a focus on maximizing my gains and minimizing her claims. As the financial noose tightened around her, Laura's attempts to assert control over our dwindling resources were met with polite resistance and subtle resistance. I asserted my authority over financial decisions, citing my responsibility as the primary breadwinner and custodian of our family's stability, a role that I wielded with calculated precision to further undermine her confidence and diminish her leverage. The disparity in our financial stability became a potent weapon in my arsenal of retribution, a tangible manifestation of the consequences of her betrayal that reinforced my determination to see my plan through to its ruthless conclusion. With each calculated maneuver, I fortified my position in the impending divorce proceedings, securing my financial future while systematically dismantling hers. Yet amidst the calculated precision of my actions, a nagging sense of guilt occasionally surfaced, a haunting echo of doubt that whispered of the moral ambiguity of my revenge. Had my thirst for retribution clouded my judgment, blinding me to the human cost of my actions? The question lingered, a sobering reminder of the moral tightrope I walked in pursuit of justice. But with each passing day, the resolve to see my plan through only strengthened. The wounds of betrayal ran deep, festering with resentment and bitterness that refused to heal. As I meticulously executed the final stages of my meticulously orchestrated retaliation, I knew deep down that forgiveness was a luxury I could no longer afford. Not when the fabric of our family had been torn asunder by Laura's treachery. And so, with unwavering determination and a heart hardened by betrayal, I continued to lay the groundwork for the ruthless retribution that would forever alter the course of our lives. The pieces were in motion, the stage set for the brutal reckoning that awaited us both, a reckoning born of broken trust and irreparable heartache. With the foundation of isolation and financial sabotage firmly in place, I turned my focus to the next critical phase of my calculated retaliation, legal maneuvering. Armed with a meticulously curated dossier of evidence and a steadfast determination, I engaged the services of a seasoned divorce attorney to ensure that my pursuit of justice would be swift, decisive, and devastating. Together with my attorney, we meticulously mapped out a strategy designed to maximize my advantages and exploit Laura's vulnerabilities in the impending legal battle. Every detail was scrutinized, every contingency planned for, a relentless pursuit of retribution fueled by a desire to vindicate the betrayal that had shattered our family. The initial consultation with my attorney was a sobering affair, where I laid bare the devastating revelations of Laura's infidelity and the meticulously documented evidence that substantiated my claims. My attorney, a shrewd advocate with a keen understanding of matrimonial law, absorbed the details with clinical detachment, his sharp mind already calculating the best course of action to secure my interests. Divorce proceedings were initiated with a swift and calculated precision, the legal paperwork filed with a sense of purpose that left no room for hesitation or doubt. My attorney navigated the complexities of asset division and spousal support with a deftness born of experience, exploiting every legal loophole and leveraging every piece of incriminating evidence to strengthen my case. Laura, blindsided by the swift escalation of legal proceedings, struggled to comprehend the magnitude of the storm I had unleashed. She was served with divorce papers that painted her as the sole perpetrator of our marital demise, a strategic maneuver designed to assert my narrative of betrayal and cast her in the role of the villain. Her attempts to negotiate a more amicable resolution were met with steadfast resistance, my attorney advocating for a settlement that favored my interests while minimizing her claims. The courtroom became a battleground where accusations flew like daggers, each argument and counter-argument meticulously crafted to undermine her credibility and reinforce my portrayal as the aggrieved victim. Behind closed doors, negotiations grew increasingly tense as the stakes escalated, a relentless tug-of-war over custody arrangements, asset division, and financial obligations that threatened to irrevocably fracture whatever semblance of civility remained between us. I remained resolute in my pursuit of justice, unwilling to compromise on the principles of fairness and retribution that drove me forward. Throughout the legal proceedings, my attorney remained a stalwart ally, a beacon of guidance and reassurance in the turbulent sea of divorce litigation. He navigated the intricacies of family law with unwavering determination, ensuring that every legal maneuver was executed with surgical precision to secure my future and ensure that justice was served. Yet amidst the calculated precision of our legal strategy, a nagging sense of guilt occasionally surfaced, a haunting echo of doubt that whispered of the moral ambiguity of my revenge. Had my thirst for retribution clouded my judgment, blinding me to the human cost of my actions? The question lingered, a sobering reminder of the moral tightrope I walked in pursuit of justice. But with each passing day, the resolve to see my plan through only strengthened. The wounds of betrayal ran deep, festering with resentment and bitterness that refused to heal. As I meticulously executed the final stages of my meticulously orchestrated retaliation, I knew deep down that forgiveness was a luxury I could no longer afford. Not when the fabric of our family had been torn asunder by Laura's treachery. And so, with unwavering determination and a heart hardened by betrayal, I continued to lay the groundwork for the ruthless retribution that would forever alter the course of our lives. The pieces were in motion, the stage set for the brutal reckoning that awaited us both, a reckoning born of broken trust and irreparable heartache. Emotionally drained yet fueled by a relentless determination, I embarked on the next phase of my calculated retaliation, emotional warfare. With legal proceedings underway and my position secured, I turned my attention to inflicting a devastating toll on Laura's psyche. A relentless assault designed to exploit her vulnerabilities and amplify the consequences of her betrayal. Subtly, I orchestrated scenarios that tested her emotional resilience, leveraging every opportunity to provoke guilt and remorse. Innocent interactions with our children became opportunities to highlight the fractured trust and shattered dreams that lay in ruin, a calculated reminder of the irreparable damage wrought by her infidelity. Behind closed doors, I maintained a facade of stoic resolve, masking the tumult of emotions that churned beneath the surface. I resisted her attempts at reconciliation, met her tearful apologies with a cold detachment, that mirrored the emotional distance I had imposed. Each rejection served as a potent reminder of the gaping chasm that now separated us, a chasm born of broken promises and irreconcilable betrayal. Publicly, I continued to portray myself as the aggrieved victim, weaving a narrative of betrayal and heartache that cast Laura as the sole perpetrator of our marital demise. Sympathetic glances and whispered words of support from our dwindling circle of friends reinforced my portrayal, isolating her further in a web of suspicion and scorn. Meanwhile, Laura's emotional state deteriorated under the weight of guilt and remorse, her once confident demeanor giving way to bouts of tearful despair and crippling self-doubt. She sought solace in therapy and counseling, grappling with the profound repercussions of her actions and the emotional toll of losing the family she had once cherished. Yet amidst her struggle for redemption, I remained steadfast in my pursuit of retribution, unyielding in my determination to ensure that the consequences of her betrayal were felt with devastating clarity. I manipulated our interactions with a calculated precision, exploiting her vulnerabilities and amplifying the consequences of her actions to inflict maximum emotional damage. The children, unwitting pawns in our bitter game of emotional warfare, became unwitting witnesses to the dissolution of their parents' marriage. Their innocent questions and confused expressions served as a stark reminder of the collateral damage wrought by Laura's betrayal, a painful testament to the shattered innocence and fractured trust that defined our fractured family. Yet amidst the turmoil of emotional warfare, a nagging sense of guilt occasionally surfaced, a haunting echo of doubt that whispered of the moral ambiguity of my revenge. Had my thirst for retribution clouded my judgment, blinding me to the human cost of my actions? The question lingered, a sobering reminder of the moral tightrope I walked in pursuit of justice. But with each passing day, the resolve to see my plan through only strengthened. The wounds of betrayal ran deep, festering with resentment and bitterness that refused to heal. As I meticulously executed the final stages of my meticulously orchestrated retaliation, I knew deep down that forgiveness was a luxury I could no longer afford. Not when the fabric of our family had been torn asunder by Laura's treachery. And so, with unwavering determination and a heart hardened by betrayal, I continued to lay the groundwork for the ruthless retribution that would forever alter the course of our lives. The pieces were in motion, the stage set for the brutal reckoning that awaited us both, a reckoning born of broken trust and irreparable heartache. The culmination of my meticulously orchestrated retaliation drew nearer as I prepared to unveil the full extent of Laura's betrayal to our friends and family. A devastating revelation that would shatter the last vestiges of her reputation and leave her isolated in a sea of judgment and scorn. With calculated precision, I strategically orchestrated gatherings and interactions where I subtly steered conversations toward Laura's deceitful actions. Innocent inquiries and casual remarks became deliberate openings to expose her infidelity, painting a damning portrait of her betrayal that reverberated through our social circle like a thunderclap. Friends and acquaintances, once stalwart pillars of support, listened with a mixture of shock and disbelief as I unveiled the evidence of Laura's infidelity. A meticulously curated dossier of incriminating messages, emails, and phone records that left no room for doubt. The room buzzed with murmurs of disbelief and whispered accusations, each revelation casting Laura in a darker light and reinforcing my portrayal as the aggrieved victim. Her attempts at denial and deflection crumbled beneath the weight of irrefutable evidence, her protests drowned out by the damning chorus of accusations and condemnations. The once tight-knit community we had cherished now stood divided, torn between loyalty to me and the harsh reality of Laura's deceit. Family gatherings became battlegrounds where accusations and recriminations flew like arrows, each word a painful reminder of the shattered trust and irreparable damage that defined our fractured family. The children, caught in the crossfire of our bitter dispute, bore witness to the dissolution of their parents' marriage, a heartbreaking testament to the collateral damage wrought by Laura's betrayal. Her reputation, once untarnished and admired, lay in ruins, a casualty of my relentless pursuit of retribution and the devastating consequences of her infidelity. She became a pariah in our community, ostracized and isolated by those who had once welcomed her with open arms. Yet amidst the fallout of my calculated retaliation, a nagging sense of guilt occasionally surfaced, a haunting echo of doubt that whispered of the moral ambiguity of my revenge. Had my thirst for retribution clouded my judgment, blinding me to the human cost of my actions? The question lingered, a sobering reminder of the moral tightrope I walked in pursuit of justice. But with each passing day, the resolve to see my plan through only strengthened. The wounds of betrayal ran deep, festering with resentment and bitterness that refused to heal. As I meticulously executed the final stages of my meticulously orchestrated retaliation, I knew deep down that forgiveness was a luxury I could no longer afford. Not when the fabric of our family had been torn asunder by Laura's treachery. And so, with unwavering determination and a heart hardened by betrayal, I continued to lay the groundwork for the ruthless retribution that would forever alter the course of our lives. The pieces were in motion, the stage set for the brutal reckoning that awaited us both, a reckoning born of broken trust and irreparable heartache. The legal battle that ensued was a tumultuous whirlwind of accusations, counterclaims, and bitter disputes, a relentless clash of wills that laid bare the raw wounds of our shattered marriage and the devastating fallout of Laura's betrayal. With my attorney at the helm, I navigated the complexities of divorce proceedings with a calculated precision, leveraging every piece of incriminating evidence to strengthen my case and undermine Laura's credibility. Custody arrangements for our children became a contentious battleground, each decision fraught with emotional implications and strategic maneuvering. Laura, devastated by the swift escalation of legal proceedings and the public exposure of her infidelity, struggled to comprehend the magnitude of the storm I had unleashed. Her attempts at reconciliation were met with steadfast resistance, my attorney advocating for a settlement that favored my interests while minimizing her claims. The courtroom became an arena where accusations flew like daggers, each argument and counter-argument meticulously crafted to sway the judge's opinion in our favor. My attorney presented a compelling narrative of betrayal and heartache, painting Laura as the architect of our marital demise and casting me as the aggrieved victim seeking justice. Her defense crumbled beneath the weight of damning evidence and relentless scrutiny, her protests drowned out by the chorus of accusations and condemnations. Witness testimonies and expert analyses reinforced my portrayal, painting a picture of Laura's deceit that left no room for doubt. Financial negotiations became a battleground where asset division and spousal support were fiercely contested. I asserted my rights with unwavering determination, refusing to compromise on the principles of fairness and retribution that had driven me to this point. Behind closed doors, negotiations grew increasingly tense as the stakes escalated, a relentless tug-of-war over financial obligations and the division of our marital assets that threatened to irrevocably fracture whatever semblance of civility remained between us. Throughout the legal proceedings, my attorney remained a steadfast ally, a beacon of guidance and reassurance in the turbulent sea of divorce litigation. He navigated the intricacies of family law with unwavering determination, ensuring that every legal maneuver was executed with surgical precision to secure my future and ensure that justice was served. Yet amidst the calculated precision of our legal strategy, a nagging sense of guilt occasionally surfaced, a haunting echo of doubt that whispered of the moral ambiguity of my revenge. Had my thirst for retribution clouded my judgment, blinding me to the human cost of my actions? The question lingered, a sobering reminder of the moral tightrope I walked in pursuit of justice. But with each passing day, the resolve to see my plan through only strengthened. The wounds of betrayal ran deep, festering with resentment and bitterness that refused to heal. As I meticulously executed the final stages of my meticulously orchestrated retaliation, I knew deep down that forgiveness was a luxury I could no longer afford. Not when the fabric of our family had been torn asunder by Laura's treachery. And so, with unwavering determination and a heart hardened by betrayal, I continued to lay the groundwork for the ruthless retribution that would forever alter the course of our lives. The pieces were in motion, the stage set for the brutal reckoning that awaited us both, a reckoning born of broken trust and irreparable heartache. The culmination of my meticulously orchestrated revenge was marked by a decisive final blow, a strategic maneuver designed to deliver the ultimate reckoning and ensure that Laura faced the full consequences of her betrayal. With the legal battle reaching its zenith, I seized upon a pivotal opportunity to expose the depth of Laura's deceit to the public eye. Through carefully orchestrated media leaks and strategic disclosures, I unveiled the damning evidence of her infidelity to a wider audience. An audience that included not only our friends and family, but also the broader community that had once held her in high regard. Articles in local newspapers and online publications painted a vivid picture of Laura's betrayal, citing irrefutable evidence and first-hand accounts that left no room for doubt. The public spectacle became a crucible of judgment and scorn, as our once tight-knit community grappled with the shocking revelations that shattered their perceptions of Laura as a loyal wife and devoted mother. Her reputation, once untarnished and admired, lay in tatters, a casualty of my relentless pursuit of retribution and the devastating consequences of her infidelity. She became a pariah, ostracized and isolated by those who had once welcomed her with open arms. A harsh reality that served as the final blow in my calculated campaign of vengeance. Yet amidst the fallout of my ruthless retaliation, a nagging sense of guilt occasionally surfaced, a haunting echo of doubt that whispered of the moral ambiguity of my actions. Had my thirst for retribution clouded my judgment, blinding me to the human cost of my actions? The question lingered, a sobering reminder of the moral tightrope I walked in pursuit of justice. But with each passing day, the resolve to see my plan through only strengthened. The wounds of betrayal ran deep, festering with resentment and bitterness that refused to heal. As I meticulously executed the final stages of my meticulously orchestrated retaliation, I knew deep down that forgiveness was a luxury I could no longer afford. Not when the fabric of our family had been torn asunder by Laura's treachery. And so, with unwavering determination and a heart hardened by betrayal, I delivered the final blow that would forever alter the course of our lives. The pieces were in motion, the stage set for the brutal reckoning that awaited us both, a reckoning born of broken trust and irreparable heartache. As the dust settled, and the echoes of my revenge reverberated through our shattered lives, I stood amidst the wreckage of what had once been our family. The bitter taste of victory mingled with the lingering shadows of doubt and remorse, a haunting reminder of the moral cost of my relentless pursuit of retribution. Yet amidst the turmoil and devastation, one truth remained undeniable. The fabric of our family had been irreversibly torn asunder by Laura's betrayal. And though the road ahead was fraught with uncertainty and regret, I knew that I had done what I believed necessary to ensure that justice prevailed. A justice forged in the fires of betrayal and tempered by the harsh realities of a shattered trust. The final blow had been dealt, the reckoning had come to pass. And as I faced the uncertain future that lay ahead, I knew that forgiveness, if ever possible, would be a distant echo in the relentless aftermath of my meticulously orchestrated revenge. Amidst the aftermath of my meticulously orchestrated revenge, amidst the shattered remnants of what once was our family, I found myself standing at a crossroads, a solitary figure grappling with the consequences of my relentless pursuit of retribution. The legal battles had reached their conclusion. The public spectacle of Laura's betrayal had faded into a muted murmur of gossip and speculation, and our once tight-knit community had begun to move on, leaving us in the wake of shattered trust and irreparable heartache. In the quiet aftermath, I confronted the stark reality of what my actions had wrought. The wounds of betrayal ran deep, festering with resentment and bitterness that refused to heal. Guilt, like a shadow, lingered at the edges of my conscience, a haunting reminder of the moral tightrope I had walked in pursuit of justice. Laura, now a distant figure in the landscape of my past, navigated her own path of recovery and redemption. Her reputation, once tarnished by the revelations of her infidelity, slowly began to heal as she sought solace in therapy and counseling, grappling with the profound repercussions of her actions and the emotional toll of losing the family she had once cherished. The children, caught in the tumultuous aftermath of our bitter dispute, embarked on their own journey of healing and reconciliation. Their innocence had been shattered by the dissolution of their parents' marriage, yet amidst the upheaval, they found resilience and strength, forging new bonds of love and understanding that transcended the wreckage of our shattered family. For me, the road to redemption was fraught with uncertainty and regret. The relentless pursuit of retribution had exacted a heavy toll, leaving me to confront the harsh realities of my actions and the moral complexities of vengeance. Forgiveness, elusive and fragile, lingered just beyond reach, a distant hope in the relentless aftermath of my meticulously orchestrated revenge. Yet amidst the wreckage of what had once been our family, amidst the echoes of betrayal and irreparable heartache, there flickered a glimmer of hope, a hope born of resilience and the promise of new beginnings. As I navigated the uncertain terrain of my future, I began to glimpse the possibility of healing and renewal, a chance to rebuild what had been broken and forge a path forward, guided by the lessons learned from the tumultuous journey of vengeance and retribution. And so, with cautious optimism and a heart tempered by adversity, I embarked on the daunting task of rebuilding my life. A life irrevocably altered by the devastating consequences of betrayal and the relentless pursuit of justice. The road ahead was uncertain, fraught with challenges and obstacles, yet infused with the possibility of redemption and the resilience to embrace the promise of new beginnings. In the quiet aftermath of the storm I had unleashed, amidst the fragments of our shattered family and the lingering echoes of my meticulously orchestrated revenge, I found myself grappling with a profound sense of reflection and regret. The relentless pursuit of retribution had exacted a heavy toll, a toll measured not only in shattered trust and irreparable heartache, but also in the moral complexities of vengeance that weighed heavily on my conscience. Guilt, like a relentless specter, haunted the recesses of my mind, a constant reminder of the human cost of my actions and the moral tightrope I had walked in pursuit of justice. As I navigated the uncertain terrain of my future, I confronted the harsh realities of what my relentless pursuit of retribution had wrought. The wounds of betrayal, both inflicted and endured, ran deep, leaving scars that defied easy healing. The wreckage of our shattered family served as a poignant testament to the devastating consequences of betrayal, a stark reminder of the fragility of trust and the irreversibility of broken bonds. Laura, now a distant figure in the landscape of my past, embarked on her own journey of recovery and redemption. The aftermath of her infidelity had left indelible marks on her spirit, yet amidst the turmoil, she found resilience and strength. Therapy and counseling became her allies in the quest for healing, as she confronted the profound repercussions of her actions and sought to rebuild her shattered life. For the children, caught in the tumultuous aftermath of our bitter dispute, the road to healing was fraught with challenges and obstacles. Their innocence had been shattered by the dissolution of their parents' marriage, yet amidst the upheaval, they found solace in the unwavering love and support of extended family members and close friends. Together they forged new bonds of understanding and compassion, navigating the turbulent waters of their altered reality with courage and grace. As I reflected on the tumultuous journey that had led me to this point, I began to confront the painful truth of my actions and the moral complexities of vengeance that had driven me forward. The pursuit of justice, once fueled by righteous indignation and a thirst for retribution, now seemed tinged with regret, a sobering reminder of the human cost of my relentless quest for vindication. Yet amidst the shadows of reflection and regret, there flickered a glimmer of hope, a hope born of resilience and the promise of redemption. As I grappled with the consequences of my actions and sought to reconcile the fractured pieces of our shattered family, I began to glimpse the possibility of forgiveness, a fragile beacon of hope in the relentless aftermath of my meticulously orchestrated revenge. And so, with humility and a heart tempered by adversity, I embarked on the daunting task of rebuilding my life, a life forever altered by the devastating consequences of betrayal and the moral complexities of vengeance. The road ahead remained uncertain, fraught with challenges and obstacles, yet infused with the possibility of healing and renewal. A chance to embrace the lessons learned from the tumultuous journey of retribution and redemption. As I navigated the uncertain terrain of my future, Guided by the hard-won wisdom of experience, I began to embrace the promise of new beginnings. A promise forged in the crucible of adversity and tempered by the resilience to forge a path forward, guided by the enduring values of compassion, forgiveness, and the unwavering pursuit of a better tomorrow. As time passed, wounds slowly began to heal, though scars remained etched upon the landscape of our lives. The relentless pursuit of retribution had left its mark, a testament to the fragility of trust and the enduring consequences of betrayal. Laura and I navigated separate paths, each marked by the echoes of our shared past and the divergent trajectories of our individual journeys. The children, resilient and adaptive, found solace in the unwavering love and support of extended family members and close friends, forging new bonds of understanding and compassion amidst the tumultuous aftermath of our fractured family. Reflection and regret continued to linger in the recesses of my mind, a sobering reminder of the moral complexities that had guided my actions and the human cost of my relentless pursuit of justice. Forgiveness, elusive and fragile, remained a distant hope, a testament to the enduring challenges of reconciliation and the uncertain terrain of our shared future. Yet amidst the shadows of reflection and regret, there flickered a glimmer of hope, a hope born of resilience and the promise of redemption. As I navigated the uncertain terrain of my future, I began to embrace the possibility of healing and renewal. A chance to forge a path forward guided by the enduring values of compassion, forgiveness, and the unwavering pursuit of a better tomorrow. The story of our shattered family, defined by betrayal and retribution, had reached its turbulent conclusion, a narrative marked by the relentless pursuit of justice and the enduring quest for redemption. Though scars remained and wounds lingered, the unfinished chapter of our lives stood as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of hope in the face of adversity. And so, as I turned the final page of our tumultuous journey, I embraced the lessons learned from the tumultuous journey of retribution and redemption. The road ahead remained uncertain, fraught with challenges and obstacles, yet infused with the possibility of healing and renewal. A chance to embrace new beginnings and forge a future guided by the enduring values of compassion, forgiveness, and the unwavering pursuit of a better tomorrow. As the echoes of our shattered past faded into the silence of memory, I found solace in the knowledge that from the ashes of betrayal and heartache, new beginnings could emerge, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring hope that guided us forward, one uncertain step at a time. This, then, was the story of our shattered family, a narrative marked by the relentless pursuit of justice and the enduring quest for redemption, where forgiveness remained a fragile beacon of hope in the aftermath of retribution.